Picture this. You've got a vendor who is absolutely furious. They're standing there, red in the face, demanding immediate payment for factory materials they swear they just dropped off. The pressure is totally on. Threats are flying left and right, and they're literally threatening to sue your company right then and there. Well, in this explainer, we're going to see how a single piece of everyday corporate documentation can stop that massive lawsuit dead in its tracks. And we are not talking about small change here. The stakes are huge. This vendor is demanding a massive payout of exactly 1 crore rupees. Tensions are running incredibly high. The vendor has already got their legal counsel involved, and they fully expect your company to just wire that cash immediately or face some serious legal consequences. So how in the world does a finance team handle that kind of intense pressure?
Well, the finance team just flat out refuses to pay. They look at the vendor and simply state, "We don't have the GRN." And what happens next is actually kind of fascinating. The vendor's own lawyer turns around and tells their client to stand down. Why? Because in the high-stakes world of corporate finance, if you don't have a GRN on file, legally speaking, that delivery just never happened.
So what is this magic piece of paper? That missing document is the goods receipt note, or GRN for short. Think of it as the ultimate internal record created by your own warehouse team. It's the absolute legal proof that physical goods actually showed up at your location, that they were properly accounted, completely passed your quality inspection, and were officially accepted into your company's inventory.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that the GRN is essentially the golden ticket of the entire corporate supply chain. It is literally the one and only document that officially gives the finance team the green light to release a payment. Without this exact ticket, the company's vault just stays completely locked. No exceptions. To really get how this mechanism works, let's just map it onto something we all do all the time: ordering food on an app. Think of the restaurant prepping your meal as the initial purchase order. The delivery driver finally pulling up to your door, that's your gate entry. But what about when you take the bag, check that they actually remembered your food, and you finally tap Confirm Delivery on your phone? That tap, that specific action right there, that is the GRN. And that single little tap on your smartphone does 2 massive things all at once. First, it legally transfers ownership of that delicious meal directly to you. And second, it tells the app's financial system to finally release the funds and pay the restaurant. Well, the corporate GRN works exactly the same way, just on a much, much larger scale. Let's scale this up and look at a real workplace example. Imagine a company, let's call them XYZ Limited. Now, say an employee there named Ria just placed a massive order for exactly 1,000 safety helmets for the factory floor. Here is exactly how that physical journey unfolds in the real world. First, the vendor's truck pulls up to the factory gate. Next, the technical engineers pull those helmets out, they thoroughly test them and officially clear them for safe use. And finally, the warehouse manager logs into the company's ERP, the Enterprise Resource Planning System, and they competently click a button that says Post GRN.
Now, the exact second they click Post, 2 massive financial triggers instantly fire off inside the system. Boom. First, the company's official inventory balance automatically jumps up by 1,000 helmets. And second, a bright green light basically flashes over in the accounts payable department, letting them know, hey, we legally own these goods now. You are officially authorized to pay the vendor's invoice. Which brings us to a really important section, the confusion buster. We're looking at the delivery Challan versus the GRN. Let's clear this up. This side-by-side perfectly illustrates where people always get tripped up. The delivery Challan, that is the vendor's document. It's an external claim that confidently says, hey, we sent you 1,000 perfect helmets. But the GRN is your company's document. It's the internal truth. Your GRN might actually say, well, we received 950 helmets, but 50 were totally broken. So we are only accepting and paying for 950. And this brilliantly illustrates why the GRN is the absolute ultimate source of truth for payment. So we know the GRN is incredibly powerful. But what happens when that power gets abused? This brings us to the auditor's eye portion of the explainer. We really have to ask ourselves, what exactly is the ghost GRN? The ghost GRN is basically the ultimate auditor's red flag. Auditors are constantly on the prowl for this kind of massive corporate fraud. Picture this: a corrupt warehouse manager secretly colludes with a fake vendor. In this shady scenario, the warehouse manager simply logs into the system and creates a digital GRN for, let's say, 50 extremely expensive laptops. But here is the catch: those laptops never actually arrived at the factory. They don't even exist. The finance team, of course, just sees that fake digital GRN in the system. They see that fraudulent golden ticket, completely assume the goods are sitting safely in the warehouse, and they just wire the cash straight to that fake vendor. To catch this, auditors have to run some seriously complex analytics. They strictly demand that every single digital GRN in the system is backed up by physical proof, meaning a real gate entry timestamp and actual security camera footage proving that the delivery truck was physically there.
So, to recap everything we've covered in this explainer, internal supply chain controls are absolutely everything. It boils down to this one simple truth. If you do not have a perfectly authenticated goods receipt note, then legally, that delivery simply did not happen. Period.
Now, all of this makes perfect sense when the system actually works the way it's supposed to. But what happens when the security camera footage mysteriously goes missing the exact moment a GRN is posted to the system? Well, we're going to dive into investigating that exact red flag in our next explainer.